Thank you for being a part of the show. How are you today?
I'm good. Trying to get it
I'm
together with the camera, but I'm good.
I know this is new for everybody, especially going live all these times. I don't think
Yes,
I've never gone live this much in the last few months that I have in my whole life. So I understand.
right.
How
Trying to get it
has
together.
quarantine and COVID been for you? Because that's the hot question right now. Get that out the way.
Um, it's been okay actually. It's been fine. I've been good. There's been a lot of things that took place that were different, I would say.
Mhm.
Like a lot of things have come to a halt. However, new things have come to surface. So it's been
Mm.
good.
I think that's really what this is bringing out of us. It is really pushing us to figure out what's most important and what matters most to us right now. Because we have all these plans and all these, goals and all these things we set in place. But right now, it, you got to know what you want in this moment in order to really be happy, healthy, and whole, right?
I think it's a really good time for people to reflect on
Hmm.
themselves. And yeah, I think that's what it's about.
I know that's right. Well, let's talk about you a little bit. I'm loving this resume. I mean, how do you become a two-time Olympic sprinter in Puerto Rico? Like, from Puerto Rico? How do you do that?
Well, basically, for me, I'm born and raised here in California. My dad's Puerto Rican, and my
Yes.
mom's Black from New Orleans. And I was running really fast back in high school. I ended up being top 10 of the country as a freshman in high school, and then by my senior year, I ended up being top three in the country and top three in the state. And so for me, my last name is Rodriguez, and the Puerto Rican Federation had reached out to me, and they were just like, hey, like they reached out to my coach and was like, are you Puerto
Wow.
Rican? What's your descent? And I told them my background, and then they gave me the opportunity. They flew me to Puerto Rico. Victor Lopez flew me to Puerto Rico. He's one of the delegates of the Olympic Committee, and he was
Yes.
head coach at Rice University for a really long time. So shout out to Victor Lopez. But yeah,
Yes.
so they flew me down, and I got to meet everybody, and then I got to make the decision because I competed on Team USA as a junior in high school. I made the USA team. I went to the junior Pan American Games in Barbados as a junior in high school, and that's how they saw me.
Mm.
They saw me running, and the Puerto Ricans kind of knew, like, is she Puerto Rican? Her last name's Puerto Rican.
Right.
She,
You can see the
so
hair,
then
the
I ended up
eyes, the
switching
nose. Yeah,
over.
I guess.
Yeah, I ended up switching over to Puerto Rico my senior year in high school.
Well, congratulations. You really have represented well. And what was that experience like getting pulled into the Olympics? What was that even like? Because that seems out of this world for most humans on the planet.
I will say it was an amazing experience, definitely a life changing experience, something that I will always remember for the rest of my life. I will say that just being able to compete twice,
Mm.
was something, it's just life changing. It was amazing. It was really fun. I made lifelong friends. I got to meet, I met Kobe Bryant, rest in peace, my favorite player.
Yes.
I met Kobe in
R.I.P.
2008 and 2012.
Mm.
And yeah, it was amazing. I loved it.
Oh, congratulations. I just got to say that because, when people make big achievements like that and it's been a little while, you got to give them their continual roses because everybody's not going to hit that achievement in their lifetime. So
Right.
that's good stuff. Now, there is one thing that I always talk with friends about, and it's, when you're in the Olympics and you're young and you're doing your thing and you make it to the Olympics and you get in there 2, 3 years and then you get some, you do something good, you get a good award or medal, and you achieve that thing you always wanted to do. What's next? Like after you've been planning and preparing your body, your mind for that moment, how do you
Well,
know what's
for
next?
well for me, it was always, I always competed my whole life. I did it as an elementary student. I did it junior high, high school, and then going to my first Olympics in 2008. It made me hunger to go to the next one. I made 2012, and then I tried to make 2016. I just missed it, and then after that, 2017 came around. I ran, and then I decided to go into retirement and take some time off and kind of weigh things out and see what I wanted to do. So, I mean, for me, I feel like track and field has gotten me ready to pretty much move on to the next chapter in life, the second chapter in life. So for me, it definitely prepared me and got me ready to do what God is calling me to do. So,
well, I feel it because you do have a new chapter. You have your new EP that's out. Tell me about that and what was the inspiration for it?
well, I don't have a new EP out. I have an EP from last year that I
Right,
released.
right.
Okay, Seven Candles. That was a great EP. I was supposed to actually be dropping an EP called Self Made this year.
Okay. Yeah, I know you had
And
the one you're supposed to do, but you have one, right?
yes,
You have
I'm
one, yeah.
working on it. Yeah, I'm working on it. And I have a bunch of different producers I'm working with. And the thing about it is, I wanted that to drop the year of the Olympics. So since the Olympics got pushed to next year, I'm going to push my project Self Made to next year and
So you got
actually
some time.
work on other projects and other music to release this
Great. I was like, wait a minute, I did my research. I know you had some music out now. Wait a
year.
minute.
Yes. Yes.
Well, for the one that's out now, what was your motivation about that? Because a lot of people they may have known you for being that Olympic runner, but they may not have known you as the artist. So, what made you transition, and what was the motivation for that?
Well, the motivation for the project or the motivation for me just getting into music?
Music, music.
Oh, well, I've always did music. I played instruments as a child. I played the clarinet as a child. I played the piano at USC for 4 years. You know, for me, like, I've always wanted to express myself. Even on the track, when I would go compete on the track, I'd show like with different hairstyles, different nails, different. I always felt like I wanted to try to express myself artistically, and looking up Lojo, like she did.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I definitely wanted to do that. But the music, it gives you a chance to really say what you want to say. You can kind of talk about what's going on. You could talk about things in your life. You can talk about what's happening in the world, and you can create change. Like music is one of those things like sports, where sports brings people together, and so does music. Music brings people
yes.
together. It's like the universal language. You can go to a whole different country and they might not even speak English, but they'll know every lyric to your song.
Every single word.
So
Yes.
yeah, so that's the thing I like about music, and I've been working with some really cool producers as well. Shout out to Meg the Kid, shout out to Mo Hitsville. Who else? There's so many. Oh my gosh, I can't even think, but yeah.
Well, I am glad to have you here because we are able to talk about a lot of different things. You're actually in LA, so you've been able to see some of the riots and the protests that have been going on there. What has been your thought about what's happening or what's happened in LA in the last few weeks?
Well, I was actually on the front line and a lot of that stuff. I went out and actually protested the Saturday in
Come
Beverly
on.
Hills when they put the curfew on us. We were out protesting, and I got a buzz on my phone saying we had a curfew at 8 o'clock at night. And
Mm,
for me, being an LA native and even looking at like the LA riots versus like the riots and protesting happening now, I feel like because of social media, because we live in a digital world, everything
mm,
travels faster. The world is so much smaller. So we see stuff quicker than what we couldn't see back in the riot, during the LA riot, Rodney King riots. But the
so
sad
true.
part about it is like we're still facing obviously systemic racism. We're still facing police brutality. We're still dealing with a lot of different things. And so the reason of why we are protesting or why people are upset hasn't changed. The time has changed, and now you can see more of it.
Mm,
And that makes a difference. I feel like, even like being on the front line and having police shoot rubber bullets at you and shoot tear gas in your face. And, back in the day, like, back during the LA riots, they really couldn't, really see it. But now you can see it happening. Everybody is almost like a journalist with their phone now because everybody can film what's happening.
yes.
So,
This is why they were
yeah.
willing to take down journalists too. They were arrested them just like the regular pedestrians. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's gotten pretty crazy. Have you being where you are and being on that side of the country? Because I'm over here in Atlanta. Do you have friends over here, and have they said it's a different
Oh,
feeling,
yeah.
or it's the same feeling?
Well, it's different. It's similar and different in the sense because everyone's facing police reform needs to happen, like defunding, like all that stuff needs to happen across the country, because there is a huge problem. It's a huge problem. However, I will say, like, the difference between Atlanta and, I say per se, LA, even just like, because Atlanta, Georgia's the South, so you're dealing with racism, and it's more in your face. I feel like in the South, it's more
Yeah.
direct. It's more, you can kind of, you see it. You might see somebody with a Confederate flag walking around out in the South in Atlanta, but out here you won't necessarily see that. Out here, it's very indirect. It's very systemic, which actually makes it almost feels like it's crazy, because like, you're like, for instance, I'll give you an example. I read an article in the LA Times last week, and it was saying how if you're Black living in LA, you're 10
Mm.
times more likely to become homeless. And
Wow.
exactly, you're 10 times more likely to become homeless, versus a white person. And because here in LA, they do a lot of redlining,
Mm.
a lot of, like, they do a lot of, they block a lot of the Black people out of white neighborhoods. It's very, like, segregated, I'll say, here in LA, and so you're dealing with a lot of different things. You're dealing with so many different systemic racism where it's just hitting you, but you don't know where it's coming from. It's kind of like, yeah, it's terrible.
Well, I'm just glad that you have that mind to not only be out on the front line, but to do your homework as well, to know what's happening and what's going on. You got the brains of beauty on lock, so that's good. We
Thank
like
you.
that. Now let's talk about, absolutely, you're welcome. Now let's talk about how you use that, or how it's being used. Is there someone who you're interested in, that you're with right now? This is the heart, by the way. So we ask real questions. Is there somebody that you're talking to right now? Are you in a relationship?
Yes, I have a boyfriend.
Yes, come on, boyfriend.
Yes.
Hey, boyfriend. All right. Well, let's let's talk about that. How is that, being an Olympic runner, right? An Olympic runner, and attracting somebody, because that's a strong position. You're on a national platform, and I know that when I talk to a lot of ladies who are in those major platforms, CEO, Olympics, boss, whatever it is, that it's more difficult to attract somebody who's going to be able to handle that. Well, what was your experience, getting with him?
I will say, him and I actually were friends for a really long time. We've known each
That
other
helps.
since 2009.
Mm,
So we were friends. He went to USC. He wasn't there when I was there. He's a bit younger, a little bit younger than me. And he ran track, and he's from LA, from
mm,
Compton, born and raised. And so we have a lot of similarities, which is really good. And, we help each other out with everything. He helps me, I help him. So it's like we're together, but it's almost like, having somebody on your side that looks out for you, and I look out for him. And we're just, basically helping each other. So I would
mm.
say it's awesome. I love it.
I love that. Have y'all been together during the quarantine?
Yeah.
All right. So how
Yeah.
was that process, being up under each other? Because I know
Yeah.
it's not the same. You're able to go to the gym, hit the track, things like that, go in the
Yeah.
studio.
Well,
What is
since
it
the
now?
since the quarantine happened, I have not been able to go to the track, just because they shut it down, and it's been shut down,
Mm,
and that's pretty much it. And the gyms have been shut down, and I honestly wouldn't feel comfortable even going to a gym right now, just
right.
because it's like sweat, and like, I'm good. I'm good.
Good on that. Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. What have you learned in this relationship that you wish you would have known sooner?
I will say patience, maybe. I feel like me 7 years ago, I would fly off the handle, like really, really quick. I would just fly off the handle. And so now I think it's because, like, obviously I'm more mature. Um,
Mm,
I'm able to have more patience. I'm able to, not react to every single thing. I'm more able to, like, okay, something happens. I'm able to, process it and be like, okay, like, and just kind of talk things through and be calmer. Cause, like I said, about 5, 6 years ago, I was flying off the handle and tearing up stuff. So,
hey, that was that Puerto Rican for real in you.
yeah,
Hello.
that's that spicy. Yeah, very spicy. Yeah.
I understand. Trust me. I've been there. I've been there, and I understand. But you know what? One of my closest friends is actually Puerto Rican. I make that light, but one of my closest friends in Puerto Rico. Actually, I have another one that used to be a great friend, which was Haitian, and so that was on another
I
level.
think it's the Caribbean. It's the Caribbean, period. It's like
Period.
it's that spicy Caribbean, like yeah, you're gonna fly off the handle. So yeah.
So that passion, just passion. That's all. Just passion.
It's
You know,
yeah,
I feel. I
passion.
love it. I love it. What is most? What draws you most to him?
Um, I will say he's very attentive when it comes
Mm,
to our relationship. He's very attentive. He just pays attention a lot and he does a lot and he treats me very very
mm.
respectfully.
I love that. So
Yes.
y'all, I hope everybody watching this just heard that. That's how you get somebody. You got to be attentive, okay? You got to pay attention
Key,
to
I feel
somebody.
like
You got to
very
right. You got to make them feel like you're watching, like you see.
yes.
With attentive, does he do things that you don't always ask for, but he does it because he knows you need it?
Yeah, like he makes me breakfast every time I'm over there. Makes me breakfast. He cooks for me all the time. He just does a lot of really nice things. He cooks. He goes out of his way to do like just the little things.
Mm,
Just little things that he does that I really appreciate.
I love it. If you were, because you have one right now, if you were to be with a therapist or a love coach, and you had one question about your love life or relationship, what would that be?
A question about my love life to a love coach?
Yes. You want to
I
improve something,
don't
do
know.
something better? What would that be?
If I couldn't hear you, what did you say the last
Oh,
thing?
if
I'm
you want
sorry.
to improve something or do something
Oh,
better?
improve for
Yeah.
me. I would say, hmm, I don't really know. That's a good question.
I like to throw this one at people. See, because some people have one wait, they just come ready. And other people are like, help me out. So
Yeah, help
let's
me
see.
out because I'm like, I don't really know.
I can find it quick. Don't worry.
Okay.
Let's do. So what do you feel like is one of the areas that you two may butt heads about?
Um. Okay. Well, I will say this. I'm
There
very
it is.
social, and he's anti-social.
Mm,
So that might be something like maybe, yeah, maybe
that's
that's like,
something.
yeah,
That's
that's
something.
something. Maybe that's
That's
something. With
something
each
that
other, we're good. With each other,
you,
we're good. But when we go out, I'm like the social butterfly, and he's more like reserved, chilling. So,
woo, I get it. I get it. I get it. So with me and my partner, same way. Like I am the
are you the
ultra.
butterfly, a social
I
butterfly?
am the butterfly. I
Okay.
am the butterfly. Okay. And all of my friends are the same way. So they always
Yeah.
want to be somewhere, always want to be doing something.
Right.
The exact opposite on that end, right?
Right.
And so how do you make that work? So I've had to come to some terms with my partner, and here's what we did. First of all, we had honest conversations about who we were. Because what we do, we often think that just because we see it, that both people are aware fully of what's happening,
True.
right?
Right.
Yeah. So you have that unspoken conversation like, I'm the butterfly, you're not. And we know that. We haven't said it. Or if we said it in jokingly and in
Right.
passing. But we never have you ever had a full conversation about it?
Yeah, we do have to have. We've had it. We've definitely had it, but I think it's just more of like understanding when we're together when we go out. If that makes sense.
It makes perfect
Like
sense.
I have to
Like,
understand, like if he's not
yes.
talking, that he's not mad. He's just not talking. If that
Come
makes sense.
on.
Because I
Have you
might be
ever
like,
felt have you ever felt bad when you were having a great time and he wasn't talking?
yes, and
And
I'm like, oh my god, what's wrong? Yeah,
I
yeah.
get it. I get it. That's one of those things where, and I'm gonna answer Erica's or ask you Erica's question. What's his sign and what's your sign? Because
He's
I
a
think that
Virgo and I am a Capricorn.
I dated a Virgo at one point. I understand Virgos very well. Very. Oh yes. Okay. Yeah, Virgos. So Capricorn, I get it. Okay, but when it comes to the Virgo, he definitely can be a socialite if he wants to. I feel like when he's comfortable
Yes, I
in
was
his
gonna say you
space.
took the words right out of my mouth. When he's
Mhm.
comfortable and he's with like his like close friends, he's like, oh. But then like if we do something maybe with my friends or not just like an event or something, he's like, I'm chilling.
He says, "Yep, sounds like a Virgo." Uh, so you want to include them because you love them and you want him there, but then you feel bad because he's there and he looks like he might be upset. So then that's the discussion. It's like, babe, look, when we're out, I'm having a good time. You can see it all over my face. You can see it from my energy, right?
Right.
And I can see from yours what it feels like. You got to tell them what it feels like. What it feels like is that you're not happy that I'm happy, or that you're just not happy being there.
Right.
And number one, I don't want to drag you out if you don't really want to be there.
Right.
Number two, I want to include you, right? I want to
Right.
include you. And number three, I really don't want you sitting there looking sad. Now, let's be honest, right? Like,
Right.
I don't want you sitting there looking like you're having a bad time because you're with me and people know you're with me. How can we make amends with that? And then hear what his side is, because I think when you have that real dialogue, you get to the heart of it. Maybe it's just that that's where his mind goes. He's looking, surveying, protecting. It could be
Yeah,
that,
he's
you
very,
know?
very protective, and I feel very protected with him. So he
Mhm.
definitely like he's making sure nothing happens. Like we're good. Like I got you.
You're going to check up on somebody if there's
Yeah,
a problem, right? I have
exactly.
a feeling, it's certain things that I assume, but also certain things I discern. The reality is that I can feel like there's a positive energy on him to protect you, not only because he knows what he has, and I think you know that, but also because there is this strength in him that he's always been that way. Is that true?
Yes, very
Okay.
much so. Absolutely, absolutely.
Tell me about the time when you first realized he was that way.
Um, I will say maybe the first time I realized that is when we went out. I don't remember. We went somewhere and he's just very like I just felt because normally I'm used to being by myself when I was single and I would feel, but now that I'm with him, we go out. I just feel he's very much so protective to where if something were to happen, like I don't feel worried. I'm not looking over my shoulder as much, if that makes sense.
I get it. I
Yeah,
get it. Absolutely.
yeah.
Well, that's a good space to be in. I'm glad that you were able to find that kind of energy to really grow and build. What do you see with him? I don't know if he's watching, but here you go. You might get some points if he's watching. What do you see with him in the next 5 years?
Oh wow! I would like to build together, and my goal is to have kids. Hopefully, if everything is set up, the moves line up. I want to get married. I want to do everything. I kind of put being an athlete. That's one thing that we don't get to talk about as much. But as a female athlete, you have to put your whole life on pause because you're competing. It's hard for you to have kids. You can't just have a kid and bounce back. Like you're taking like a year off. So now it's like this is the time where I would like to start focusing on family, start
Yeah.
building together, building wealth together, owning property together, all
Yeah.
that stuff.
I love that.
So,
I love it. I'm so proud of you. Like this is some good stuff. Your mind is in a good place in
thank
order
you.
to really receive. Absolutely, you're welcome. Because I know, there's a lot of people, a lot of women, a lot of men who are out there who wouldn't be able to answer that even as quickly as you did. So, congratulations, even on that. That's a good sign. That's a good
Thank
sign.
you.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. So tell us, you're looking at putting out your next EP next year because of the Olympics. But in
Yes.
the meantime, what else are you working on?
I'm still working. Well, actually, it's funny because I put out my last song um, called Flex on My Ex.
I love
Flex on
that.
My Ex. I dropped that on Valentine's Day and actually took a little bit of a break from writing because everything that was happening, I got writer's block for a while, dealing with the whole coronavirus, pandemic happening in the world, and then dealing with, police brutality and dealing with everything that's happening. For me, it was important to put out, I write on my own music. And I pay attention to what's going on. I like to pull from
Yeah.
my life, what I deal with, and then I want to pull from what's happening around me, what's currently going on. And so what I experience on a day to day. So for me, it was really important to want to put out these next few songs, to basically talk about what's happening right now, and
Yeah.
how it's affecting me, how it's affecting everybody else, how it's affecting, Black people, how it's affecting Latino people, how it's affecting everybody. And my
Yeah.
thing for me, it's about, you know, putting out this music and being able to convey the message that I want to get across to where, people, they get it, and that's the main thing. So for me, working on music, I'm actually writing music. I was writing music earlier today, going back in the studio next week, and I'll be dropping some singles soon, some very dope singles. And
All right.
with everything happening, I started a clothing / merchandise line. And
X-Track Star.
Yeah, it's called X Track Star versus Track Star.
Yes.
And yes, and so for me, the whole point of coming out with merchandise and clothing that basically pay tribute to current track stars and past track stars, because I feel like, number one, me being a track and field athlete, that's what I identify as. That's what I've been for a very long time, and that's what a lot of people know me as. Track star. That's me as a track star. That's what I've always been. I've been a track star. The X Track Star, basically for me, is, the second chapter in my life. It's essentially carrot cake. It's the music. It's the business side. It's the entrepreneur. It's the second chapter of life.
Love it.
It's basically, pretty much everybody, they start at one starting point and then they go to a second chapter in life, whatever it is. If you're an athlete and you transition out of being an athlete into being something else, that's the second chapter in life. So for me, I wanted to dedicate a clothing merchandise line that focused on track and field, because I feel like track and field does not get enough, they don't get enough attention here, especially in the US. We get overshined, get outshined by all the other sports. So I definitely wanted to pay tribute to all the track athletes, all the runners, all the marathoners, all the sprinters. Yeah.
Yes, I love it. And it's so true, because there are so many people who played football and did track, and they will always highlight the football side and not the track side. So I get it. I understand. Like, definitely second to, unfortunately, other things. But I'm glad that you have enough vision to see that. I think that's going to catch off, because our partner would definitely get that shirt. It talks about all the time being a former track star, so I've never seen it.
Well, he needs an X-Track right now. Look, I got on the X-Track Star hoodie now. So.
I might sneak in one. You might see my name in the orders tonight.
Xtrackstar.com.
Xtrackstar.com. Everybody, please go check it out. Thank you so much, Carol. You are really a phenomenal person. Like, I love you never know what you're gonna get with somebody unless you actually talk to them, which is why I love doing this now, because social media is like so fake, and I don't care how hard you try to make it real, it's still not real. So I am glad to actually talk to you. I'm glad everybody gets to see you in this environment. Some of my people will get to know you. I really, really hope that you just keep doing your thing, because you got that light on you. I see the baby bump in the future.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Tell us where we can find you again. And we got xtrackstar.com, but where else can we find you?
So xtrackstar.com is my online store. You can cop all my merch. I got hoodies, shirts, hair growth vitamins that I created, pretty much everything, bling masks. And to check me out musically, you can go to heyitscarolcake.com.
Love it. Love it. Thank you so much for being on today, and thank you for being a part of the show. You really are, like I said, a light, and I look forward to your success and seeing you do even more. I mean, you clearly got victory on you, because you went to the Olympics already, so keep doing it.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Much success there. We'll stay in touch, okay?
Okay.
All right. Blessings to you.